Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dallas Cowboys coverage after a huge Cowboys playoff win. The Cowboys take down the Buccaneers, get past the first round, and on to the next. It was really an excellent game, almost all the way around for the Cowboys. They really played well, exceeded everyone's expectations, I would say. They, even though being the favorite in this game, were seen as almost an underdog as everyone doubted them. No one thought we were going to win, and the Cowboys go out and absolutely dominate the GOAT, Brady and the Bucs, and on to the next round. So the Cowboys, after this win and the Vikings loss, they will go to Santa Clara, the other bay, to take on the San Francisco 49ers. So definitely a tough matchup. Not exactly the one I wanted. I probably would have rather had the Eagles, but a huge storyline. 49ers Cowboys revenge game from last year. This is going to be a good one, and I'm super excited, and my confidence is at an all-time high after it was just about at an all-time low last week. The Cowboys responded as usual. It's kind of been the story of this season. They have not lost back-to-back games all year. They're on sort of a weird pattern of loss, 4 wins, loss, 2 wins, all that. And if that pattern continues, the Cowboys are destined to win the Super Bowl. So hey, just take that with a grain of salt, but who knows? The Cowboys just an incredible bounce back, and obviously the Commanders game was a bit of a gut punch, I would say. But to me, as much as it did concern me, I just sort of thought back to week one. It felt the same way, just a horrible start. I mean, it had seasons over vibes, and I think so did this one in terms of not having confidence going into that playoff game. But like they did in week two, they turned it around in a big way. And if we can go on the same win streak as we did back then, we're Super Bowl champions. So we'll take it one step at a time. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But an incredible performance. I mean, I said in those last two games, I wanted the Cowboys to get right, to go out there and just, do it right, to dominate. And they didn't do that. But now in the playoffs, the biggest stage where it truly matters, they get it done. So credit to the coaching staff. McCarthy, Dan Quinn, even Kellen Moore for adjusting and getting some good play calls in that game. It was just a huge and incredible all around effort, a dominant win, and just pretty much everything went well except one thing that I'll get to later. But let's just jump right into it. Dak Prescott, player of the game, masterclass. I mean, one of the best games of his entire career. Over 300 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, along with the Peyton Manning style rushing touchdown. He looked incredible. He's been doubted all year. The interceptions have been rough. I mean, he's just been so up and down, and I don't want that to take away from. He's had a good year, in many games, but it's just been an inconsistent year. He's done a lot of good things. It's not like this came out of nowhere, but finally he put it all together. He got the protection. He didn't make any bad decisions, and he went out and had an incredible game. And that is just again comes to show what Dak Prescott is capable of. What we know he's capable of, and now he has gone out and proven it. And that's just going to be the Dak we're going to need throughout these playoffs if we want to make a run. So incredible, great game for him, and I just hope it can continue into the next round because we're going to need it. And Dak Prescott, he shows that he can perform, and just got to keep seeing it. It was an incredible game. Player of the game, player of the week, everything. Best quarterback in all the playoffs in wildcard weekend. So incredible performance by him. The running game was not as present. I think it was better than it has been, but still just a little bit shaky, in comparison to how it was earlier in the season. I'd really like to see that improve, especially going into some tougher matchups. You're going to need to be two-dimensional offensively. You can't just be throwing the ball. And it wasn't the case. They were really a lot better against the Bucs. The spread was really pretty even. Not a monster game out of Zeke or Pollard, but really a solid game. And it just was a lot better than what we've been seeing. I'd still like to see it take another step forward, but it was a good balance offensively. Dak got it done. The running game got it done when they needed to for the most part. So can't take too much away from that. And the offensive line was really solid. They'd been struggling a bit. To me, the Cowboys have a very talented offensive line. Coming into the season, it was full of doubts and stress, but now Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith are in, and to me, those are two of your biggest strengths. Tyler Smith's still a rookie. He's still going to go through some bit of growing pains, but the potential he's showed, the um, dominance, the power he has, it's really key, and he's done a good job this year. And the offensive line really done their job for the most part. Even with the struggles, with the injuries, with the different combinations, they've really done a good job, and were awesome, pivotal in Dak's big game last week. Onto the defensive side, Micah Parsons is player of the game 1A, 1B, if you want, if Dak's number one. But he was incredible. Didn't fill up the sack sheet, but if you can even look at the stats. It's not one of those where the stats don't tell the story as much as they didn't tell the whole story. He lit it up. He was incredible. It felt like every single defensive play he was there. Tackles for loss. QB hits 9 pressures. Did get a sack. He just was all over the place, and he looked dominant from the jump. And that's what we need out of Micah Parsons. We need this playoff Micah Parsons beast. And, he just looked amazing. And if we can continue to have this, the defense is going to have success. And, again, one of the best defensive games. There were concerns midway through the season about the defense, sort of maybe the 3 quarters time period. I wasn't too concerned just because of what we had seen all year. But the concern was the Cowboys' defense just not getting off the field. And I understand, they weren't perfect. And, yeah, there were some struggles during that period, but they have just erased all that in the last couple of games, even in the struggling games, even in the Jaguars game, really. The defense did enough. They did their job. And the issue has just been when they show up, the offense seems to disappear and vice versa. But finally, the offense and defense showed up at the same time. And I've been saying it this whole time, that's the result you're going to get. Now we just need special teams, and then we'll be complete. And I just hope that can continue. The offense was awesome. The defense was awesome. And when you have both of those clicking at the same time, you're going to blow out teams. This Cowboys team is extremely talented. It's a Super Bowl contending team if both sides show up. And, we see what happens when they don't. We saw the Commanders game. We saw the Texans game for most of the game. And then we see when they both do this game, and then when all 3 of them do, that's the Vikings game. And that's where I want to be as we continue through these playoffs. You're going to have a big test in the 49ers because they also have a great offense, and they have an outstanding defense, probably one of the only defenses that can rival the Cowboys at this point. 49ers kind of known as the number 1 defense in the league, and I know Micah Parsons, and the rest of the defense is going to take offense to that. So if they can go in Santa Clara, dominate the way they did in Tampa Bay, you're in for a very good and successful game, especially on the defensive side. And if the offense can show up like they did as well, you're looking at another win. And that's just what's going to need to happen. And it's all hands on deck for the 49ers, and I'm excited. I'm excited for sure. Jayron Kearse, he looked really good. Leighton Vander looked incredible coming back. He just showed how much we missed him. Jonathan Hankins, really happy to see him back as well. But just Vander man, it's been so underrated, so under the radar all season long. But to me now, he is a crucial player that you need to re-sign because he has just been awesome. He solidified that linebacker position once again in really his best season since he was rookie. So just really got to give him a lot of credit. Trayvon Diggs, really the only one, not his best game, missed some tackles, a little behind on some routes. He's been a little bit inconsistent as of late. Look for him to bounce back, hopefully get an interception. I think he's sort of been needing one, and if he can get one, I think Trayvon Diggs' morale will rise, and he can really become a force again in the secondary. You got to give him credit for being kind of the last one standing in that secondary cornerback room. He hasn't been perfect, but he's had a good season for sure, Pro Bowler. And just look for him to step it up again. And if he can, you're looking at a scary, scary defense. The secondary, I was really impressed with them. Deron Bland had another good game. Israel Mukuamu played well, sort of in that slot cornerback role. I wasn't he wasn't exactly the one I was expecting, but he played well. Xavier Rhodes, I liked seeing him get beat on that Mike Evans route. Luckily, it was a bit overthrown. I really want to see what he can continue to do, though. Don't want to give up on that experiment quite yet, but either way, just having Israel Mukuamu sort of step in as a safety cornerback type of player, he really did play well. So just really a great game overall. The defensive line was awesome, putting pressure. Um, the secondary was good. The safeties were good. It was that kind of game. And if that can happen against the 49ers, man, that's going to be huge. All right, so on to special teams. This is not so good news. Brett Maher misses an NFL record for extra points. I know you guys all know that by now, but it's weird. I didn't know if there's maybe an injury going on, some sort of something. Sounding like maybe it was just the yips, but that's some pretty serious yips and a pretty seriously bad time to have them. Sparked a lot of frustration on the sideline. Gallup frustrated Dak throwing his helmet. Um, it was just a head scratcher, and it had a lot of people talking. Some people kind of calling for his head. But he's had a good year overall. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but he's on a pretty rough streak. We saw him struggle in the Commanders game, missed an extra point there. I thought it was just an isolated weird incident, especially since the other kicker was missing them too. I thought, I don't know, FedEx Field. But to go in and miss 4 in a row out of 5, I mean, it was just really, really scary. And a big concern because the kicker is a very important position, especially in the postseason. We've seen how many times it's came down to the kicker. And right now, my confidence in Brett Maher is at an all-time low. Ever since, I mean, he came in, I've said he's brought consistency to the kicker position. He's done a good job all year, but that just wasn't it. Only really one true missed extra point all year. 2 of them got blocked. One just pure miss, and that came against the Commanders. And now 4, he's on a pretty bad streak compared to the rest of the year. Like I said, bad time to have it. I still, believe in him. I don't want him cut, but I've been saying bring in some insurance, and they did. They signed Tristan Vizcaino to the practice squad. He's sort of bounced around his whole career. And in practice, he actually missed 2 extra points. Brett Maher, by comparison, was a perfect 6 for 6. So maybe that'll instill some confidence again in him and in the fans. I'm still a little concerned, but hopefully Brett Maher can bounce back. Dak expressed his confidence in him going forward in the post-game interviews. So did the coaches. I still think he can be good, and I still think he can come back to what he has been all year. I just hope that he can kind of get his confidence back and get back in the right mindset, because a lot of kicking, I hear, is mental. I'm not a kicker, but clearly there's just something going on last week. So hopefully that can be over and done with, and Brett Maher, as we know, can come back. Anger and Turpin were solid, fixed their yips from last week. So really, that's just the one position, the one side of the ball left. If the special teams can get on board fully, you're back to Vikings form. And the Cowboys, that is what they need going into this 49ers game. So San Francisco, obviously, lots of weapons. Offensively, you got George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams on the offensive line, and Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, he's been really good all year. I know he's Mr. Irrelevant, late round rookie, barely drafted, but he has gone in and played like a really good player. Doesn't look like a rookie for sure, but as good as he's been, I do believe he can be exposed. I think if you can put the right pressure on him, get him flustered, he's in a perfect system. He is a system to perfection quarterback right now in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But to me, it's just he's as good as he's been. He's still a rookie. He's still a barely drafted player. And he's on an incredible team. Like I said, an incredible coaching system. But he can be flustered. I know it. He's had a lot of close calls throughout the year. He's a different quarterback when he's under pressure. And what better team to put pressure on him than the Cowboys and Micah Parsons? I mean, I know it. I know he can be exposed, and I know that he has flaws. Seldom has he shown them this year, but they're there. They're there. I believe that. And you have the quarterback advantage. As far as I'm concerned, Brock Purdy is still one of the weakest quarterbacks in this playoffs. So as good as this 49ers team is, they don't have Mahomes at quarterback. They don't have Brady at quarterback, who you just took on. This is really a perfect system. He's getting the ball out quick, not making a lot of mistakes, but if you can pressure him into some mistakes, you can have a dominant game defensively. There's got to be good tackling in this game. There's a lot of players that are going to make you miss. Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. You can't allow them. You can't allow the offense to run you over because the 49ers defense is going to cause issues. They have a great pass rush as well, but much like the Cowboys, their secondary can be exposed. They have a lot of good safeties. Talanoa Hufanga's had a good year, but cornerback-wise, they're really depleted. They have a pretty solid one in Travarius Ward, but other than that, they have a lot of injuries. There's places for them to be exposed. And to me, I just keep looking at the first half of the Seahawks game. The Seahawks were really putting up a fight until they made a mistake offensively, and that's what can't happen. We need the Dak we saw last week. Not making mistakes, not turning the ball over, because as soon as you give in to this 49ers defense, as soon as you turn it over, they have you. They have you right where they want you. The Seahawks were winning that game by not making mistakes, by doing well on offense and exposing their flaws. But as soon as that turnover happens, you give the Niners defense confidence, and there's no slowing them down. That's how it's felt all year for them. They've shut down opponents, but they're not invincible. I think the Raiders did a good job in finding a bit of a kryptonite for them. They took them to overtime. The Raiders did. So to me, that's just, you got to look at these games. You got to look at where they've struggled, and you got to apply that. Kellen Moore, this is your time to be a coordinator. Look at what's worked and do that. Don't run it up the middle because you're going to get stuffed. Don't sit back there too long, or else he's going to get sacked. Just make the adjustments necessary, and you can expose this team. If you can get past their pass rush, if you can take away the fire in them, the confidence in guys like Nick Bosa and the rest of those defensive linemen, and if you can just get their secondary one-on-one with your receivers, you can get something done, and you can expose some defensive flaws on this 49ers team. If you can rattle Brock Purdy, if you can put him under pressure and force him into some bad throws, some throws that he's not wanting to make, with your secondary, with your defense, you can cause turnovers. For the first time since 1972 or something like that, the Cowboys have led the league in turnovers, in forcing turnovers. Man, make that clear. The defense is incredible. And if there's a team that's going to mess up Brock Purdy, it's going to be the Cowboys, because you got to force him into making mistakes. You got to get turnovers. And if you can do that in this game, you can come out and win it. This is a game that it's a tough team, probably the toughest team in this conference, I would argue. They're on an 11-game winning streak, but you showed what you're made of last week. The 49ers throughout the year have showed some of their flaws. As good as they are, and as good as Brock Purdy has been, don't forget, he is a 7th-round rookie. And to me, you have the advantage here. Dak Prescott is a seasoned veteran now. And to me, don't go out and lose to a 7th-round rookie. I'm not trying to take away from Brock Purdy, but he's still a rookie. He is still growing. He's still developing. I think he can be a great quarterback one day, but he has flaws. He's still a rookie. And if you can expose these flaws, if you can really make him uncomfortable, because he's been comfortable all season, make him face some adversity. Put the 49ers behind early. And if you, instead of the 49ers just doing their sort of cruise control with all their offensive weapons, if you put them behind, force Brock Purdy to be under pressure, force him to be the one to beat you. That's what I want. Nick Bosa, he can beat us. All those 49ers weapons, they can beat us. I get that. They have a lot of talent. But do not let Brock Purdy beat you in this game. And if you do not allow Brock Purdy to beat you in this game, you can win it. Because as much talent as the 49ers have, the Cowboys have the talent to match it. And if they can go out and perform like they did last week, then they have the ability, and there's no reason you can't win this game. If you do not let Brock Purdy beat you, and if you do not beat yourself, then go out and you can win this. You can truly win this game. I was really concerned coming into the playoffs, but the Bucs game proved to me that the good Cowboys team is still here. And if they can perform like they did last week, they can win this game. So let me know. Predict in the comments who's going to win this game, Cowboys or 49ers. I hope we hear a lot of Cowboys. And let me know who you're most concerned about. I've heard that question go around a lot this week on the 49ers team. For me, it's probably Nick Bosa. He's been incredible. He's been a sack artist on defense. Probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year, probably just over Micah Parsons. And I know Micah Parsons is not going to like that. So go where it matters. Awards are cool, but what matters is playoffs. And what matters is playoff success. Parsons has said it himself. Go out there and sack Brock Purdy. Rattle him. Pressure him. Make him uncomfortable. And make him make mistakes. You do that, you're going to win this game. So, let me know. Thanks, just again for hanging with me with that. Let me know what your biggest concern is. Maybe what your biggest excitement is going into the 49ers game. There's a lot to be excited about for the first time in a couple weeks, I would say. The Cowboys, after just a truly dominant performance, I have all the confidence in the world in them right now. I sure hope it doesn't come down to another second-round exit. Truly, divisional round has really been sort of where the road has ended for a lot of years now. And the Cowboys, hey, what better opponent to turn this around on than the San Francisco 49ers? I think you sort of got revenge last week on the Bucs. They've beat you over and over again. Brady's beat you every single time up until now. 49ers, it's kind of been the same story as of late. They've really had the upper hand, and especially after last year's playoffs, when they just went out and really were more physical than you. They were stronger than you. They really just played better. And the Cowboys sort of got caught as the favorites, simply, and they just weren't ready. And they got beat by a team that just played harder than them. That's not going to happen this year. I know that. Jayron Kearse, Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, the captains on this team, they're not going to let it happen. I know that. I mean, Dak Prescott, the fire he played with last week, everyone was getting mad at the video where he slammed his helmet and said, go for two and all that. And I get that, maybe not the best way to express that, but I was not one bit angry about that. To me, it was just the fire in him. He really he was putting it all out there on Monday. He was not going to be denied, and he was not going to lose that game. And, to me, Brett Maher, he was a threat to you winning that game. And, I mean, that's going to frustrate you because Dak, and he was all in. He is a true leader. He's a true captain. And he endorsed Brett Maher after the game. He gave him confidence. He spoke that the team is confident in him. But in that moment, I understand the frustration, the fire. You're doing everything you can. And for someone to be consistently messing up like that, he's not going to put up with that type of that type of stuff. And, I hope Brett Maher turns it around. And this is not anything against him, but this team is locked in. This team, Dak Prescott, the defense has shown fire, has shown just something else this season, all year long, even through the struggles, even through the adversity. Like I said, this team has never, all year, lost back-to-back games. The resiliency, that's kind of the Cowboys' word of the offseason. Of the postseason. Yeah, let's not worry about offseason at all right now. The resilience they've shown is just really been on display all year, bouncing back and not getting down on themselves, even after horrible games like last week, like week 1. They win afterward. This team has showed I keep saying fire, but that's what it's been. They've had just a different attitude this year. This team has felt like no other Cowboys team that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I don't know. I don't even know what the word is. I can't quite describe it, but this team, they're built different. They have that dog in them. All these cliche sayings, but they're there. This team has that mindset, that attitude, a winning attitude, truly. A no excuses attitude, and a we're not afraid of anyone. We're not anyone's underdog type of attitude, and that's what you're going to need going into this Niners game. No one is going to go out easy. Not Dak, not Micah Parsons, not Jayron Kearse, not anyone on this team. Not the linemen, not the offensive or defensive, not Donovan Wilson, not Leighton Vander, not Pollard or Zeke, not CeeDee Lamb, not Dalton Schultz. You have so much on this team. Every single player is bought in. There's not one player that I'm concerned with their competitiveness, with their spirit, and with their will to win and to win now. This team, I talked about offseason, and let me talk about that just a little bit. Not this offseason, but this coming offseason, but last offseason. The front office showed that they were not all in on this season because they did not acquire the talent that really we wish they would have. Stephen Jones was asked in an interview, do you feel that you've put your coaches in a position to success? And of course, to succeed. And of course he said yes, but to me this offseason, no. Not that you didn't put them in a position to succeed, but you did not go all in. You did not put them in the... You did not go and bring in the type of... You didn't have the urgency to win a championship this year. To me, the front office didn't. They, releasing guys like Amari Cooper, letting Gregory walk, cutting La'el Collins. Some of these moves have worked out, and some of them, Amari Cooper, have not. And you didn't bring in... Dante Fowler was a good addition. You didn't bring in talent in free agency. I mean, name them. Anthony Barr, maybe. He's been okay. Jason Peters has been pretty solid. You did not show your team that you were all in coming into the season, and that was my biggest anger. That was the biggest thing that angered me and frustrated me about this offseason, because you had an opportunity, a weaker conference, and to me, you didn't go all in. And as good as this team has been, to me, I can't quite get over that, because that's still a thing. You could have done more, and you didn't. But this team, this coaching staff, Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, Dan Quinn, all the assistants, this team, these players, they don't care about that. And that is on no one's mind on this team. The front office, I have my own concerns with them, but this team, that's not even on their minds. This team is all in with what they have. Even though this team was not constructed in a way to be all in this year, they have defied odds. They have been incredible. They've adjusted. Even though on paper, maybe this team doesn't look as talented as it was last season, it's different this year. Every single player on this team is all in, is committed, is ready to win, and like I said, win now. This team has overcome so much adversity. I will be the first one to say that I messed up by doubting this team. Number one, week one, Dak Prescott goes down. I thought the season was over. You can go back and watch that video. I said the season was over. And boy, was I wrong. They proved me wrong. And they have proved doubters, they proved haters wrong all season long. Don't doubt this team anymore. They're no one's underdog. And as much as, talent as other teams have, this team has it too. And I'll just keep speaking on it. Even though this team maybe wasn't constructed the way we all wish it was in the offseason, they have taken what they have and they have ran with it. Got to give the coaches credit. Got to give Mike McCarthy credit. People have been calling for him to be fired since he came in the door. And I'd say I probably was one of them at times, especially a couple seasons ago. But this year, what he's done and how he has united this team, how he has really got everyone to buy in. He has this locker room, and everyone is on board. There's not loose ends anywhere. Everyone just has the spirit this season to win, and to win big, to go all the way. And that's just the type of attitude you need. This is the team you need. And they have just gone out, exceeded everyone's expectations. This season is a success no matter what happens. But this team is built different. They have that fire in them, and they have the ability to go as far as they want in these playoffs. The sky's the limit for me right now. This team has it. I believe that. And if they can play like they did last week, if they can play like they did against the Vikings, if this team that we know can show up, there's no reason you can't win. There's no reason at all. But it's just got to happen. This team's got to be consistent. They've got to show up like they did last week. And if they do, I'm really, really excited for Sunday. So I will see you guys then. I hope that I can make another video like this next week saying we're moving on once again. So let me know again. Comment your score predictions. Who you think's going to win this game. I got the Cowboys all the way, guys. And this team has it in them. I know that the mentality is different. They have it in them. No matter how much adversity they face, they've bounced back. And they've responded in the best way possible. So this team, give me a win on Sunday. Take these 49ers down, exercise more of these demons, and keep winning. Get past the divisional round. You finally won a road playoff game. You finally beat Brady. Finally get past that divisional round. Then we'll go from there. Thanks again, guys, for watching. I will see you guys next time, and go Cowboys.